Good morning, children. Now, children, winter season has started and we have started sitting in sunlight, or we have started using room heater, or sitting in front of coal fire. Now, and the moment we sit in front of a coal fire or a room heater or outside in sunlight, we start feeling warm. Now, does that the heat is transferred by conduction or by convection? No, children, the heat is transferred by another method of heat transfer, and that is what is called radiation. So today in a class we are going to study about the third method of heat transfer, that is radiation. This method of heat transfer is the fastest mode of heat transfer. Remember one thing, this heat transfer does not require any medium. Now, let us see, suppose you are sitting in front of a room heater and you put a cardboard between yourself and the room heater. At that time, when you put a cardboard between the two, you do not feel warm. What does that mean? Yes, this means that there is no medium required and the heat is coming to us directly from the source of the heat. That is, it does not heat the medium which is present in between the source of the heat and the person, or you can say from the hot body to a cold body. So let us see that this radiation, so let us define what is radiation. It is the heat transfer from a hot body to a cold body without heating the space in between. Now let us come back to the question K. Is that the heat is transferred by means of conduction or convection? Now let us think over it. Now suppose if the heat would have been transferred by conduction, then you remember, children, that air is a poor conductor of heat, and between a hot body and a cold body, or between the room heater and you, what is present? Air is present. And we know that air is a poor conductor of heat. That means the heat cannot be transferred by the process of conduction, because air is not absorbing the heat, so it cannot transfer the heat from a hot body to a cold body. Now, is it by convection? No, children, it is not by convection, because we know that in convection there are convectional currents, and in convection the warm air, it raises upward because it is lighter in weight, so it moves upward. But when you sit in a room which is being heated by the room heater, then you feel equally warm. It is not that you feel warm that is literally also, sideways also. So we say that the heat transfer is not taking place by means of convection, because the warm heat is equally distributed in all the corners of the room. Not only upward, it is also being distributed sideways or the laterally. So we can say that the heat is not transferred by means of convection either. That is, the heat is being transferred from a hot body to a cold body by means of radiation. So what is radiation? The transfer of heat from a hot body to a cold body without heating the space in between the two. That is called radiation. And most important, fastest mode of heat transfer, it does not require any medium. Now coming to the next topic, that is radiant heat or thermal radiation. What is this radiant heat? It is the heat energy which is transferred from a hot body to a cold body without being absorbed in the surrounding or the medium which is present between the hot body and the cold body. And this radiant heat is similar to that of electromagnetic radiation, and just like light energy, it also travels at a speed of 3 into 10 to the power 5 kilometer per second. And this radiant heat is not being absorbed by the medium which is present between the hot body and the cold body. Okay, now Now children, now let us see what are the applications of radiant heat. Now it has been found that when this radiant heat is falling on a solid surface, then the darker side of the solid surface absorbs more radiant heat as compared to the lighter or the shiny surface. So it has been concluded that the darker bodies, they absorb more heat and at the same time they also radiate more heat, whereas the shining surfaces or the lighter surfaces, they are poor absorbers and at the same time they are poor radiators of heat. So let us see again what the black surfaces are good absorbers and good radiators, whereas shining surface or the light surface, they are poor absorbers and poor radiators. Depending upon this fact, there are many applications of radiant heat. Common, which we all have experienced, is that we feel comfortable wearing dark clothes in winter, whereas light clothes in summer. It is because light clothes are a poor radiator, so they radiate less heat, so we feel more warm when we wear light clothes, or you can say we feel more comfortable when we wear light clothes in summer. In the same way, in winter we wear dark clothes because they are good absorbers, so they absorb more heat and we feel comfortable. Same is applicable in buildings which are painted white. They are more cooler in summer as compared to the buildings which are painted dark. It is because the shiny or the white surfaces, they are poor radiators and poor absorbers. Coming to the next one, that is underside of cooking vessels. When we cook vessels, when we put it on the flame, we find that the inner side of the cooking vessel is painted dark as compared to the outer shiny surface. The reason is that the darker surface absorbs more heat, as a result of which that heat is being used up while we are cooking the food, whereas the shiny surface, they absorb less heat. So whatever the heat is absorbed will remain, is being trapped and is being used in cooking only. So children, I hope the topic of radiation is clear to you. Today we have seen radiation as the fastest mode of heat transfer, which does not require any medium. Heat is transferred directly from a hot body to a cold body without heating the space in between the two. Then we have seen that radiant heat is the heat energy which is given out by the hot body in the form of infrared rays, and then we have discussed different applications of radiant heat. Thank you children, I hope the topic is clear.